deployments. You have the Phenom 21 microcatheter that's typically used for stent retrievers like the Solitaire. Then you have the Phenom 27 microcatheter typically used for the pipeline flow diverters. And all of these three catheters can go through the Phenom Plus. So anytime you think about Phenom Plus, you will be rest assured that all the smaller catheters will actually be compatible with Phenom Plus. So that's at least one key point that I want you to remember from this specific talk. So this is the typical construction of the Phenom catheters. Not only Phenom Plus, but all of the other Phenom family catheters, this is the typical construction. And you will notice that this is the standard way of constructing a catheter for all the other, even competitive catheters. You'll see this is the typical way of constructing the catheters. You have three zones. You have the proximal zone, which is typically constructed from braids. And we use braids just because it gives you that support and pushability to be able to park it on the proximal section. And then you have a small transition zone where you have going from the braid to the coil. And then the distal segment is where you need it really soft, because that's the part that goes through the severe tortuosity. So it's typically made from coils so that it's highly kink resistant. And then other than those three zones, you typically have a marker at the very tip so that you know exactly where the distal end is. And then you have the hydrophilic coating as well to be for smooth trackability. A few other dimensional attributes that I wanted to highlight. You'll see that the ID is about 45 thou. So the maximum guiding catheter that you can pass the Phenom Plus through is you need a minimum of 70. So you can be rest assured that like a 6 French Navian, you should be able to pass the Phenom Plus catheter. And for the guide wire, no more than 41 thou guide wire. So nowadays we have a guide wires of like a 34 thou or a 24 thou guide wire. So we can easily use such a large guide wire to be able to pass through the Phenom Plus. A few other dimensional attributes. So the two key skews that we have for Phenom Plus, you can see the 105 centimeter and the 120 centimeters. So the longer length you see has the longer, softer zone, the distal segment that you see. So it has a 10 centimeter softer segment. So the longer the catheter, you would typically use it where you have more tortuosity. So we have simply extended that softer segment so that you can get through that tortuosity. Another key benefit is the trackability of the catheter itself. And this is an important one just because you already have a sheath. You would typically have a guide catheter like a Navian, and then you have a distal access catheter, and through which you're going to either put in several different types of microcatheters. So you want to be able to track your distal access catheter as distal as possible so that you can support your microcatheters during your device deployment. So it's really important to have really low trackability force. So the more distal you go, the vessels are more fragile. So you don't want to cause vasospasm or hurt the vessel lining. So just comparing it even with the Navian and other competitors, you can see that the Phenom Plus has really low trackability force. I hope I covered some of the key attributes. Unlike the previous talk, I do want to get at least one question from the audience for this one. Yes, please.
Can Phenom Plus take two microcatheter system into one?
If the combined OD is able to accommodate the lumen, then you can.
But do you recommend it?
I don't think we specifically recommend that type of scenario.
Okay, just for curiosity, whether if the Phenom Plus is in the system and we have to take a coiling catheter of 010 and another catheter either for balloon or a stent, can it accommodate?
If the lumen is able to accommodate the two sizes, then yes.
Can I answer?
Yes. Sure.
From the practical perspective, if you take anything, it will take your single standard of O21, even O27 ID diameter microcatheter. But it will not take anything, even if it is O10 ID microcatheter, it will not take two systems.
Okay.
It will only take one system. Dedicatedly, you want to do it only simple plain coiling procedure, or you want to do a plain flow diverter procedure with O27 microcatheter, it will take one system. It will not take anything. Because ID is 045. Technically, even if you did 0170 or 0176 microcatheter or 021, anything like that, it will not take two things.
Yeah, because the 017, the OD is almost 30 thou. So it's not going to fit.
Technically, whenever it is Phenom Plus, you want to go and access your distal tortuous anatomy. You want to have your AVM, planning AVM course. You want to go distal access in anatomy. This becomes an idea. Or you want to reach a spinal AVM, tortuous anatomy, single catheter. You want to go deeper into the anatomy. Phenom Plus is an ideal choice. I mean, it's a very flexible stuff, but it will not take. Even if it is a AVM microcatheter like Marathon and Apollo, it will not take.
It's just mathematics. It just doesn't fit.
Okay. Thank you.
Can you just show that slide now, comparing the length of effective length of O21 and
This one?
no, go back. Yeah. O21 has 170. O27 has 160 only. Is it?
So, go ahead.
Effective length we are saying it is ranging, we are saying Phenom 17, sir. All Phenom 17 catheters are up to 150. And idea behind having two lengths of Phenom 150 and one of Phenom from 160 centimeters, technically two different things. Even if O21 you will see will have categorically it's designed to take your aspiration catheter. Most of your aspiration catheters are going to be around 130 to 35 centimeter long. And if you're going to take those aspiration catheters with your microcatheter, which is 150 centimeter long, and with the aspiration catheter, you will have your Y connector, which is ranging anything between 5 to 7 centimeter. Total put together length will be.
Yeah, that's.
So that's the reason 150 will not work over there. That's the reason we have 160 centimeter. So your play area once you're out with aspiration catheter.
No, my suggestion was the longer microcatheters are more useful in stroke, as you rightly suggested.
Yeah.
So why not have 170 for O? Because many times we use O27 for thrombectomy also, putting the stent retriever. Many times we find that O21 there is a little bit of resistance, especially when you use a 6 stent retriever. So we use O27. So O27 has got 160 only the maximum length. If you can bring out 170 for that, the longer microcatheters are much more. But sometimes the aspiration catheter doesn't go beyond the ophthalmic curve. So you are struggling there. So instead of that, if you can park the stent retriever distally and then do it when you are withdrawing the microcatheter, the aspiration catheter will easily track up. So why restrict to 160 when you can go to 170?
I think just the design intent is that the more distal you go, smaller the microcatheter needs to be. So that's why you see more longer lens.
Yeah, we prefer longer lengths.
Catheters.
For thrombectomy, we prefer to have a longer length microcatheter.
Long length, yes.
So I was just curious to know why O27 you have only one.
At least when it was meant to be designed, like
It was
several
meant
years
for
back.
delivering a stent or a flow diverter.
So it was mostly meant for flow diverter, so that's why.
But because most of the other microcatheters are only 150, this is a very good thing.
Yes.
So Phenom 021 and Phenom 027, both are available in 160 centimeter, keeping in mind the usage of both of them in stroke management. At the same time, when you want to have Phenom for the management of flow diverter, we have it 150. The construction is little different because the 160 is longer, but 10 centimeter longer, it is more distally probably one. So it may be more.
Is there any other microcatheter O21 or O27 which has got a longer length other than Phenom?
Only 153. It was, to my knowledge, was
Velocity comes at 160.
What about Max series?
Velocity microcatheter.
That is 170. 165. No, my message to the industry is try to bring out longer microcatheters.
So that's the reason we have people from R&D and
The longer the better, like CC.
Yes.
I have a question. Medtronic has been known to have the serendipities. You had a solitaire AB and suddenly you went a stent retriever. So I just wanted to know whether your Phenom Plus, what will happen if you use it as a Mevo aspiration mechanical thrombectomy device? Just wanted to know. Do you think if I put a suction pump across your Phenom Plus, will the tips collapse?
To be honest, we are actually evaluating that. So that is under consideration to see if it can be used as an aspiration catheter or not.
Any more questions? So I think that's one. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.